If you have a cell phone, would you please place it on silent? Everybody have their mic on? Yep. No, you can have it on to see, make sure you did have it on.
When you banged it, you wanted it off, maybe.
Good evening and welcome to this Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, August 28, 2018. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Kevin O'Connor. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity that we have as a community to come together and discuss the business of the city. Father, we pray that you would be here, that you would lead us and guide us in our decision making. We pray, Lord, that your will would be done and that you would lead every single decision that we make. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. Tonight's consent agenda, City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, August 14th, 2018, and 2018 appropriation ordinance number AO-18-16 in the amount of $4,985,182.13. Are there any questions or amendments to this portion of the consent agenda?
I have none. I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Van Oster and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Next item on the 2018 appropriation ordinance number AO-18-16A, ISHMS, in the amount of $148.13. Are there any questions or amendments to this item?
No.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance as read.
A second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Doan to approve appropriation ordinance number AO-18-16A for adoption. Commissioner Van Oster.
Abstain.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Doan.
Aye.
Under regular agenda items, tonight we have a public hearing, vacation of utility easement at 2602 Edgevale. City Clerk Cindy Price will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, approximately a month ago, we set a public hearing date for tonight on this item. Cody Mummert, who resides at 2602 Edgevale, has requested that we vacate the utility easement behind his property so that he can construct a garage. We sent letters to all of the utilities in that easement, and we also published the notice of the public hearing in the Journal, put it on the city's website as required by state statute. None of the utilities had any, they didn't have utilities in there, so there was no reason to keep that as a utility easement. So recommend that you open the public hearing for any comments. Cody Mummert is here tonight if you have any specific questions for him.
Okay, thank you. This time I'll open the public hearing. Seeing no comments, I'll close the public hearing. We'll move to ordinance number S-18-03, the first reading of an ordinance to vacate a utility easement at 2602 Edgevale. Questions?
Any questions?
No.
I move to approve ordinance number S-18-03 for first reading.
I'll second it.
Motion was made by Commissioner Doan and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve ordinance number S-18-03 for first reading. Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Moving into new business, resolution number R-18-60, a resolution to award a construction contract to Jeff Graham Construction for the 10th Street non-CDBG project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. First item I have for you this evening is the 10th Street non-CDBG grant, concrete pavement portion of the kind of the 10th Street project that we received a CDBG grant from, similar to the 9th Street, from, this one goes from Gillum to Camden. And so this part of the non-CDBG will cover from Gillum back west to Buckeye. This is only the concrete portion, so that's driveways, new tubes underneath the roads for the ditches, regrading of that ditch, and then concrete pavement at the intersection of 10th and Gillum, at the approach to 11th Street, and then it will go back west at the 10th and Gillum to take the turn-in radiuses for PD and the fire station, both. We only received one bid when we opened bids, and it was from Jeff Graham for $344,246.60. We did send this out to direct solicitation invitations to several people. There were 9 plan holders, including, I believe there was 3 plan rooms. If somebody got some plans from one of those plan rooms, we don't have their name. So we did have it out, posted, but we only received one bid. This bid is $97,000 below the engineer's estimate, so it's a very reasonable bid, and we feel that it would be in the city's interest to contract with Jeff Graham for this project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the commission?
I got a couple questions. We got a short meeting tonight, so maybe we can educate ourselves a little bit from Mr. Osborne here about this procedure. When the engineer, estimates, how does that tell us in layman terms how they come up with that? I mean,
Okay.
Do they have books that they go to, or?
Typically, how they will create an engineer's estimate is based off of the planned quantities, and then they'll take previous bids that they've received for other projects, and they'll go through those and match up line items, and okay, this is kind of the average of the bids that they receive, not necessarily the low, not necessarily the high. And they'll take those, and that's what they'll put in, and that's how they kind of get their engineer's estimate numbers from those.
Did we take into account like 9th Street's bids when we did 9th Street? I would assume that they would be fairly similar to each other. I mean, a little less actually in length, but.
Yeah, well, for this project, there wasn't this was more concrete. 9th Street was mostly curb and gutter with asphalt paving.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is there's additional bids that they had from other projects, not necessarily with the city. Again, the bid, if you look at the actual bid tab, the line items,
Yep.
they're very comparable to Acme, comparable to the Clink projects, comparable to the more recent intersection projects as well. So.
Yep. Any other questions?
No, I know Jeff Graham Company's done us a good job and usually saved us money, but you're gonna get asked questions as a commissioner. Well, I only had one bid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I just
Fair
looking for whatever, information to, counter that or explain that, to somebody. So, I mean,
Right.
you guys are comfortable with it?
Yes, yep.
And you put it out there for the allotted time that we put a
Yes,
normal
for-
bid out
for a
for,
normal-
quote
Yep.
process?
Don't remember the exact number of days, but usually we're around 3 weeks.
Yep.
But yeah, it was out, and like I said, we've sent out the plan rooms. Some of the engineers I've talked to just today, just about projects bidding wise, it sounds like the economy's doing good. A lot of people are doing their own work, so contractors are really busy.
Yep.
Jeff, he's local. He wants to stay in Coffeyville. He doesn't want to go out and get all these other projects. He prefers to stay here. So.
That's a good thing. Like I said, he's done us a great job.
Yep.
But anyway, good. Thank you, Thomas.
Any other questions from the commission? I'll move to approve resolution number R-18-60 for adoption.
I'll second it.
Who second? Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Taylor to approve resolution number R-18-60 for adoption. Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution number R-18-61, a resolution to award a construction contract to Jeff Graham Construction for the 2018 intersection and drainage improvement project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne will make comments.
Thank you again. This project we had, was spurred from the large water line blowout at Second and Spruce. We replaced those lines under the intersection in-house, but it pretty much took out half or more of the intersection. So we got with our on-call engineers, Alger Martin, to design this project. They surveyed it and put together the bid package. Exner we had already had from a previous package that we put together that we didn't build, so we put those together and bid it out just to try to get as best bang for our buck that we can get. We received 2 bids. Jeff Graham was the low bid of $119,937. Again, we only received the 2 bids, but we had 7 plan holders, including a couple plan rooms, and then we direct solicited at least 3 others that didn't even pick up plans. So again, I think that's back to they're busy, they're working, and so.
Hard to be a local contractor too.
Yep. We don't have any concerns with him overreaching his
I don't
abilities, do we?
For Jeff, he's also has the Brownfields project, and those 3 sets of pavements are actually different thicknesses. So he's not going to be trying to move forms back and forth. So he'll be able to set up, pour, set up and pour, set up and pour. So I feel comfortable that he'll be able to do these concurrently, as well as the last one, the 10th Street. We actually have to wait until the water line is out of the way completely before we start doing that project. So it could push that back. I think we had 30 days on it. That started August 13th. We've had a whole lot of rain, so that kind of pushes those dates back. So that's the same thing with all of these. Weather affects our completion time. You have to wait for the proper temperatures and of course the clear weather as well. So, but yeah, I feel comfortable. I don't have any issues with Jeff. I think he can do all of these concurrently. I know he has some crews in Bartlesville that he said he can pull up to here if he needs to as well. So,
Where's this being funded from?
this is being funded out of the 2 half-cent sales tax, so the transportation sales tax.
Okay.
And this was below the engineer's estimate too, correct?
Yes, yep, the engineer's estimate, if I recall off the top of my head, is $125,833.
Any other questions?
Nope.
No.
Okay, I'll move to approve resolution number R-18-61 for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve resolution number R-18-61 for adoption. Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye. Thomas, it is your night. Resolution number R-18-62, a resolution to approve a work authorization for Alger Martin and Associates for construction engineering for the 2018 intersection and drainage improvement project. Engineering Superintendent Thomas Osborne.
Thank you again. This is the last item I have for you. It's the construction engineering phase for the intersections that we just awarded to Jeff Graham. Alger Martin and Associates, they're the ones that do the design. We, as a city, like to have the designer also do the construction engineering, just because if there's something unexpected comes along, you're not trying to bounce between a bunch of engineers to get everybody on track. It's a direct line to the people that designed it. And so I recommend awarding this contract to Alger Martin Associates in the amount of $40,000, not to exceed.
And I noticed
we've got 42, I mean, there'll be about 42 calendar days.
Yes.
For both of these, is that, was that for each?
That would be 42 calendar days is for the 10th Street, or not the 10th Street, it's for the 2018 intersection drainage improvement. I'm not sure off the top of my head on the 10th Street project.
Okay, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about on these
Yep.
intersections, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's for both intersections? First and Exner and Second and Spruce? Okay,
Yes.
right. Any other questions?
I move to approve resolution number R 18-62.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Williams and seconded by Mayor Bauer to approve resolution number R-18-62 for adoption. Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. City Manager's report. Mike Shook will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. Just a few items. Asbestos inspections have been completed for the blight properties in town. We'll perform asbestos removal on the ones that did have asbestos in them, and then we'll proceed with demolitions. Public Works Deputy Director Jim Bradshaw and myself will be attending the Highway 169 Corridor Coalition meeting tomorrow in Chanute. Staff will also be preparing a resolution in support of the Highway 169 improvements to the Joint Legislative Vision Task Force for your consideration and approval. We'll have that at the next commission meeting on September 11th. Water Department, we've experienced several water leaks around town, with one at 9th and Washita. That was a 24-inch main. And,
So I was gonna ask, was that one that we replaced when we did the Ninth Street project? Was that replaced?
I don't
No?
believe that was ever replaced.
That's
and,
unfortunate.
I know Jim Bradshaw's been here for 30-plus years, and he
Yeah.
said that's the first time he's ever seen a 24-inch main break. So I think he's scrambling trying to find parts.
Yeah.
We don't normally stock that.
So, okay, so we didn't replace it when we did that big
To my
project?
understanding, we did not. Cleanup week has been set for October 15th through the 21st. A flyer will be sent out in all utility bills. This will also include a household hazardous waste disposal and a drug take-back day on October 20th. The Coffeyville Fire Department will be coordinating the volunteer efforts to assist those that are unable to get their items to the tree dump. Red Cross will take the calls for those needing assistance. Another item, as the commission is aware, staff has been working on an advanced metering infrastructure project, the AMI project, with JCI. We've been working on this for several months. I guess I'm looking for some direction from the commission to see if this is a project that you wish for staff to proceed with and bring to the commission for approval.
Good question.
With our current state of affairs, I would like to hold off on it.
I second that. Yep.
Okay.
Put that on hold for now.
Yep.
I think until, yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we're trying to get a new city manager, and I need to know more. I mean,
Well,
you know, when you don't know, and I don't know.
Okay.
You and I have talked about it a little bit
Mhm.
in the past, been a while, but
And I see a representative from JCI, the company that we'll be working.
he'd be glad to listen to what he's got to say real quick, being he's here, but.
David, I didn't know if you wanted to make comment or not, but.
No, not really.
Okay.
I was bored sitting in my hotel room. I got a meeting with you at 8 o'clock.
Okay,
I understand.
okay.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, we want to be polite and
Yeah.
professional, but, you know, it's a lot of money and we don't know what to do. Or I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, my opinion is it's a lot of money, and I think we need to put it on hold at this time. That's my opinion.
I'd like to get a new city manager in here and kind of see what he knows about it, and something we might be talking about a little bit.
Okay. I've got a consensus, so we'll move in that direction.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Another item, I've been contacted by a local businessman asking if the city would have any interest in selling the old fire station. So I'm looking for some direction on that. I've got Chief Roski's in attendance this evening. We've put all the equipment that was stored in the old fire station today, just to see if it would all fit. We've got some pictures, and I think Bob would like to make some comment as well, and I'm sure you have several questions, so.
So Bob, you're gonna tell us a little bit about what you think about the old fire station, I guess?
I don't have any problem with selling it, but as you can see, I'll pass those pictures around. It's going to be really cramped in our new station, and it's going to be, to me, it's an accident waiting to happen because we're so cramped in there. And what I did was we left 2 bays open so we can still drive through, and then all the other equipment's in the other 2. And if we move some equipment over to the other 2 bays, we'd have to pull in off 11th Street.
So you put all these in there to get pictures?
Yes, I just wanted to see if it all fit.
Not to get pictures. I
I
don't
just-
think that we've ever moved all the
Yeah.
equipment out to the new station.
I just wanted to
since
make
it's
sure.
been built. We wanted to see if we could fit everything in there, knowing you would probably, the commission would ask, do we have all the equipment out there, and would rather try it than come here tonight and say, no, we've not tried to put everything out there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, to get a feel for it,
Absolutely.
Yes.
okay?
And in visiting with the chief, we're gonna leave the equipment in there for overnight and
Overnight.
tomorrow. If any of you would like to go out and take a look and get a feel for it for yourselves, just kind of see what they're faced with.
Okay.
If you'd like to do it after the meeting.
Well, we all knew this was, yeah, we could go after the meeting real quick, We all knew this issue was coming, okay? Now, I guess we could, you guys got any questions to start with? I can go last.
No, feeling was I knew it was a matter of time before we were gonna
Yeah.
get asked this.
Well, okay, so how much room over there would you need? This is kind of a large can of worms. There's several things to look at. Everybody already kind of knows. What's the condition of the building? Do we need to put a roof on it, or
Yes.
what's?
Yes, we need to put a roof on it. It probably needs some maintenance to the building.
We've got a rough estimate of
Yes.
anywhere from 100 to 120,000 to put a new roof on it.
Okay, and we talked about a new building at the fire station,
Yes.
A supplemental building.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was gonna cost, how much was that, 100?
I believe so, but I think
We never got a
We-
firm number on
we
that,
could
I don't
We
probably
think.
got
get
an estimate from,
No, we didn't get an estimate.
we
As I
can
read.
get an estimate that's a lot lower than that.
Yeah,
bid.
I don't think we got a good estimate. I think it was just shooting from the hip
it was
kind of
it
thing.
was a metal building deal,
Yes.
one of those cheap
And
metal buildings.
that's all we'd need is some
Right,
kind of building that we can just, what we were going to do is put the hazmat trailer, our boat, and then a couple of our, just the smaller trucks in it.
Mhm.
That way we wouldn't have to pour so thick of a concrete.
Right, I think
And we
that
can-
was one of the concerns when
Right.
we talked about it.
And I figured if we left our engines all together and put the smaller trucks in there, we could probably save money that way.
Yep.
and there is an element of response time with
Yes.
having all that over in one spot. We've been through this before a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously we need to get all the cards on the table, okay?
Yes.
And get prepared for that. Are we prepared for that now?
No.
Okay,
Because this just came up and we knew it was going to be
right.
brought up to the commission, so I haven't had
Right.
time to get anything
Yeah.
other than putting all the equipment inside the bays.
Well, obviously, we need to, get prepared to make the decision.
Correct.
Bob, city staff. But how much can we get out of the building? You might wanna
Mm-hmm.
open it up for bids and tell them that we're, on the RFQ, just say, hey, we're a good chance we're not gonna sell this, but what would you offer? We could find that out.
We could use a procurement policy if that was the direction the commission wanted to go, and put a reserve price even.
Just to see what it is, but that might come after we find out what we're gonna spend on the building and what another building would cost, to even see if it was feasible.
I would recommend getting some estimates
Yes.
to put up a new building before we would actually go and sell the building, then.
And you could go ahead and dig into, there was a file, all the commissioners got that. Do you remember what it was, Chris?
It was right around 100,000.
Yeah, I believe it was a little over 100,000.
Yeah, well,
I think it was two things. I think it was way overpriced.
Mhm.
The second thing is I think that
It was more than what we needed. It was
It-
like 5 bays or 6 bays or
It-
something like that.
and I don't remember specifically, but it was way overpriced and way over, way more than I think that what we needed. And the other thing is that the whole purpose of going the route that we did was that it was just going to be too expensive to do what we needed to do in that building over there to repair it and make it functional, et cetera, et cetera. Why on earth are we going to start sinking money into a building that
I agree.
we decided wasn't going to be functional to begin with? Thing is that we just need to cut our losses with that building, sell it,
As is.
and someone may be able to make it into something that will be useful for the city of Coffeyville, the community, and bring it back to life. But the thing is, for the taxpayers to keep dumping money into a building we've already decided is unusable and unfeasible to continue, I just don't think that's a wise decision. We just need to cut our losses.
What staff will do is we'll check in, try to get a better estimate of and narrow down a size of kind of what we would need out there, and then bring that back to the commission and kind of have a little more information before we.
And I think that I would also follow along with Commissioner Taylor's recommendations of trying to figure out what exactly that building's worth, or what exactly the old fire station, because based upon what that particular piece of property sells for is going to be pretty what you build over there is going to be pretty depending on what you get out of that building.
Right.
In other words, I'm not prepared to spend more money than what
we
you get out of that building.
Okay.
That was a big, long way around saying what I needed to say, but I got there.
I agree with you. I agree with you, though.
Should pay for that.
Yep.
One should pay for the other.
That's the path we'll go down then.
Yeah, we probably need to cut down on the base then.
Do what?
We need to cut down on the bays.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a joke. It is a
Yeah.
joke. Anyway. I am kind of interested in buying the property. That was the inside joke.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
just say it, okay, because it'll come forward. I have not said anything to anybody about it, but I'm interested in that block. And I'm one interested buyer. I'll just say it, no big deal. But I don't know. We did talk about 6 bays on the building, and I think, Bob, would you agree we're going to need 6 bays
On the,
on the new building if we build a new little shed?
we'd need 3.
Is that all you need? Is
Probably
3?
more appropriate.
So how wide is the bay? How
Uh,
deep?
I'd have-
So you're talking about putting 3 items in there?
No, what we could do is, if we made them a little longer, we could stack the
Okay.
trailer and the truck both in
Okay.
each bay.
Right.
Then we'd have one bay that would probably hold, well, we'd have a light tower and
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple of boats and our hazmat trailer. So I figured that would suffice for everything.
Yep. Good.
That's the path we'll go down, and we'll bring it back to the commission once we have some additional information.
Yep. Sounds good.
I think that's the way we need to go. Having this stuff in 2 locations and all the money we're gonna have to spend on it, whatever, it needs to be looked at. Might have an auction over there, I don't know how you wanna sell it. I'm wondering how you wanna sell it. Or we want to sell, I should say.
Well, I believe we've basically got two options. We could go through a realtor, or we could use a procurement policy which dictates how we would sell it and
Okay.
offer it for public sale through a sealed
Okay.
bid process.
What is that building, Bob, the big tall structure over there? I was out there looking at today. What is that 3-story deal?
That's our hose tower. That's where we hung our hose to dry. When we got done at a fire, we'd wash it off, then we'd hang it,
Okay, and so was that built just for that?
pretty much.
I see.
Yes. And we also used it for training sometimes to
I
rappel
see.
out of.
I see.
Put you
Now,
a
what
big
about-
long pole
okay.
and slide
Now, what-
down it.
Yeah. What about the generator? There's a
Yeah.
generator over there.
I don't know if we
There's
leave
been
that.
some discussions of removing that and taking it out to possibly public service or over to the electric distribution department. But we've not made any final determination where we need to put that generator, so it's just kind of stuff.
I just wondered, I saw it over there a while ago. Thank you, Bob.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll work on this, I guess.
And that's all I had, Commissioners.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open comments to the public. The public's free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes.
Brian Nagel, 1102 West 5th. I'm a proud member of the Coffeyville community. As many of you know, I take great pride in our community and especially our schools, where the future of our town awaits. Let's get the facts straight, though, with something very special coming up for our schools. Safe, secure, and sensible. The September 6th bond election for Coffeyville Public Schools, USD 445. Safe. A FEMA-rated tornado shelter to house all students and staff at the middle school and high school campus. Improved traffic flow, providing safer access at the Early Learning Center, elementary school, and middle school and high school campuses. The bond issue is secure. New security measures, including secured entries at the middle school and high school, increased student security at the middle school and high school campus via connecting structures. The bond issue is sensible. District-wide ADA accessibility upgrades, reduced crowding at the elementary school, new and renovated programming and space for 21st century learners, new and or updated mechanical and electrical systems for increased efficiency, new and or updated plumbing systems to ensure buildings remain viable into the future for generations to come. Some of the basic financial facts about the bond issue include an average household of $50,000 in assessed value will pay an average of $60 per year. Here are some of the things you will pay more for in a year.
Hang on, Brian, let's just slow you down a little if you don't mind. Okay, an average, you said there's been a study here, and I should know more, but I don't. A $50,000 what, house?
Value.
$50,000 in assessed value on a home.
Assessed value, right? So help me out here, you know about this, because I don't.
Okay,
So it's 50 in assessed value,
$50,000.
okay? It's gonna cost, what do you say, 60, 80, what did you say it was?
$60 on average for a
Okay.
$50,000 home.
Okay.
So a $100,000 home would be $120 on
Right,
average per
right.
year.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Just want to make sure the public you know, there's a lot of talk about this. And
Today it's about getting the facts straight.
Right, and I'm glad you're here, okay? Because there was some discussion about it right before you showed up with Charlie's and Charles Weed and 2 or 3 people.
Taxes bring a lot of conversation.
Right. So, you know, and I think a lot of people want to know what's it going to cost. Whether it's 23 million or whatever the number is.
25.8.
Okay, 25.8, there you go. What's it gonna cost everybody, and can we afford it? That's the question.
I'm not here to bring argument, contest,
Right.
or insecurity
Right.
to an issue.
Right.
I'm bringing factual information to you today.
Right, and I was focusing on that. Thank you, Brian.
Not a problem. I'll add as well, things you will pay for more in a year than what you will pay for in the school bond issue include your iPhone upgrade, your family Spotify plan, a dinner and movie for a family of 4, getting your nails done, getting a Netflix subscription, a premium channel on your cable bill, subscriptions for magazines that sometimes you read and don't read. Also, your Amazon Prime subscription are a few examples among many that will pay for not only the future of our kids' education and also the future of our town, but for many generations to come that will look back and not only pride on our school district, but pride in our community, which is something we're always looking for more of. Information, once again, is provided on our website at www.cvilleschools.com/pleasevote. There you'll get full school bond information in addition to what I've talked to you about today. We encourage today, I'm here as a representative of the bond committee, not saying for you to vote yes, nor am I saying for you to vote no. I'm saying for you to please vote and include yourself in the democratic process on September 6th. It is your constitutional and citizenship right to be in the USD 445 school district area, including Deering, Liberty, and also Coffeyville. Then you are able to vote. And as long as you're 18 years old, we include you guys from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on September 6th, being included in that great process that we take a lot of pride in this town, and being able to use your constitutional right to vote on the future of not only our kids, but the future of our Coffeyville School District. I yield back on my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nagel.
Hold on, Chief.
Yeah.
No? I didn't know it was going to be question and answer. I thought it was just
Yeah, no,
statement only.
Oh,
So,
they say 3 minutes, but sometimes if it's worthy, we can go over.
I appreciate
Go
the
ahead. No,
extension.
you go ahead.
Okay.
You know I like to go last.
Okay. How many, so I've heard in a lot of your meetings it was primarily teachers, which is not necessarily a good thing. I wish there was more citizens at your meetings.
I beg to differ. Our last meeting included over half, included also parents as well.
Okay. Well, up until Mr. Carell came to see us, it was primarily teachers. So, out of your teachers in your school district, in your school, how many of them live in town that are going to help out with this?
78.2%.
Okay. And of your administration?
I don't have that information. Sorry. That is staff in the entire school district. My assumption would be that includes administration.
Okay. Okay. Has there been anything, so Caney just did some renovations, and for their out-of-district children, they pay an additional amount to help pay for that. Has there been any discussion about that?
I haven't been aware of that. I know there's different options that were put on the table with building new and also renovations. You have a great example of Chanute High School that built brand new, but now they're encountering issues sometimes, whether it's updates that on the existing new building. But as we know, building brand new is a lot more expensive than renovating. The renovations, once again, the town holds a lot of pride in the front of our high school and middle school. I'll add that the bond committee said that they do not want to change the front of those buildings. Those will remain exactly the way they are with the pride the town carries with them. These are simply renovations, additions, and making ADA and safety security the priority for those buildings that are nearing, mind you, 100 years old. Many people forget how old these buildings are. It's kind of like having a pair of jeans. You wear the same pair of jeans for 100 years, you're going to eventually have to either start stitching them up or have to eventually buy a new pair. The committee was very adamant about keeping the uniqueness of those buildings, but we need to repair them. Some of the outstanding figures that Dr. Carell spoke of eloquently was the fact that these buildings are having a high upkeep. Talking about taxpayer dollars, we're upwards of over $200,000 a year maintaining the middle school and high school. It's kind of a eye-opening figure when you come down to just maintaining. We're not building anything new. We're maintaining those old buildings, and they are old, but they do look fantastic on the outside. I know that between Dr. Carell and the rest of the committees, we'll give a tour any day to show you the inside of those buildings. I think you're going to have a different conclusion in the way they look on the outside than on the inside.
Was that, I like to look at that $200,000. Is that the main labor? I mean, I'd like to look at that. Where would a guy find that information?
You can go to the Board of Education office.
Okay. I don't want to do that, just that means you brought it up.
Because I know at some point, even if we spend $25.8 million, there's still going to be upkeep on the school. I mean, it doesn't go to zero.
Every building needs upkeep, including the newly renovated City Hall.
Exactly.
There's no denying that a light bulb will go out, a toilet will need to be replaced, flooring will get a spill on it. Those are regular problems that we have with maintaining buildings. Regular problems should not be replacing an electrical system at a high school. Regular problems should not be replacing your entire HVAC system. Mind you, we talk about CES, which seems like a new building, right? Guess what? The HVAC systems are due to expire after 20 years. Guess what's right around the corner? Since 2003. Do the math. You find that we're already going towards expiring HVAC systems at a school that seems brand new. So yes, you are correct. Buildings require updates. Buildings constantly require manual labor, as we mentioned. Those are things that are required to maintain big buildings like City Hall and like big buildings like Field Kinley and Roosevelt Middle School. Except one, these ones have not been updated, and two, they're nearing 100 years old. So these are big ticket items that will be paid for by the bond issue at $25.8 million.
Well, I mean, 100-year-old buildings, some buildings are built for 500 years. So it's just maintenance. I mean,
This is a school district for our children and their safety. I dare you to find a building in the United States that's 500 years old for a school for our children.
well, I've seen a lot of old buildings, and I'm not an architect or an engineer, but I know a lot of buildings are designed to do that, Brian. Okay? And it's a really good question. You bring up a great question, but 100 years old, that doesn't really mean it's old. Okay? Because a lot of the buildings in Germany and some on the East Coast, but a lot of them were designed that way and built by these people from Germany that came over here. And guys really got to look at these buildings. Okay? And we just went through this process with this building and building a new emergency service. Everybody knows it, probably you included. And it's always a debate. Do you rebuild the old? Do you build the new? And the real question is in Coffeyville right now, and I'm not even talking to everybody, but I'm talking to a few of them. And it's a big elephant in the room right now is this topic, is it not? Am I right on that? We haven't talked. We haven't been talking much lately.
No, that's why he's here.
Right. And so.
And mind
can
you, I'll
talk-
add as well, I'm here on my own accord. I didn't have to come tonight. I came here to just spread factual information. I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to make a stand. I'm not here to raise a torch and vote for bond. I'm here to just provide factual information as a prideful member of the community.
Well, I'm very glad you showed up, and I think about the last 3 or 4 meetings, I said, more people, please show up. We need to hear more from the people.
Transparency is very important, and it's good to know the factual information.
Exactly. And, so it's a time to talk about the buildings and what we want to do. And,
Thank goodness for a small program for tonight so we could have a little bit more time over the 3 minutes.
Well, we've got more time than 3 minutes when we want to take it. I mean, we've got to set some parameters and move on with it. And this is a $25 million deal, and we can talk more than 3 minutes.
I want to be just clear, 25.8. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Right.
Some people still believe it's a $40 or $50 million bond issue. I want to say it again, 25.8 million.
Right.
Some of the contesting information says that, well, if the bond issue passes, well, they're going to overspend. We're going to cost us more. We are not allowed to spend over $25.8 million. We work with what we have, with what the architects and what the presented documents, the information they provided us to the school district, and that 25.8 million, they cannot cross that mark. That's what the taxpayers approve, and that's what they work with, given the architectural designs we've been provided, which are astounding for the future of our kids if the bond issue is passed.
Well, you bring up a good point, Brian, that it's a lot of miscommunication about the money. I mean, I'll pick on Charlie back there. He thought it was 60 million before the meeting. There is a lot of people who think it's this number and it's this number. So, good point, and I'm glad you're here. Is there anything else we want to talk about on that?
I just want to ask one question.
Okay.
The $120 for 100,000 assessed value for a household. Where does maybe this is an ugly question to ask, but how does Tyson fit into this thing?
I don't have a comment on that.
Does anybody know anything? Our agriculture, infrastructure, is that exempt or is that included in there or what?
It would not be exempt under normal conditions, but the county passed the neighborhood revitalization, so they would be 100% exempt for the first 5 years, and then 50% exempt
Even from the
even from that.
from the school.
That's the information I've received from Mac.
Wow.
Well, we need to know more about that. You got my ears perking now, okay?
So
I mean, we've talked about that, and then it disappears. When did that pass with Montgomery County, with that
Mac.
revitalization? I remember
About-
Fred Brown was here.
Yeah.
And they went ahead and moved forward on that. Just from the county-wide standpoint, originally they had pushed it out to the cities. They backed away from that, and it only affects the county.
so it exempts you from the school tax for 5 years.
You would get
What about the other taxing entities?
I think it exempts all property taxes for the first 5 years. Of course, those are new taxes.
Right.
at 100% for the first 5 years. The second 5 is exempted at or rebated at 50%.
For new construction. In the county?
Yes.
So does that include in the city too?
No, just the county.
That's just in the county.
So
So,
I don't want to advertise that, but
well, we need to know.
well,
I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah, we
so
need
if
to
you
know.
so if you were to build a new structure in Montgomery County outside corporate city limits of whatever city, say a $100,000 home, you're completely 100% exempt from property tax for 5 years.
Correct.
And then 50% for the remaining 5 years.
As long as you meet the guidelines of the county neighborhood revitalization program.
and you know, we're really going over 3 minutes, and I love it. Okay, but I support that because we get some people building some houses. Nobody's building houses,
Or businesses. It affects
Yeah.
businesses too, right?
but they got to be in the county, right?
To take advantage of that, yes, that's county only. That's
Right.
not city.
So then they build them, and then 5 years later they get half the tax, and 10 years later they start getting taxes. And we got to do something to start getting the tax base up.
Mr.
Right.
Taylor, if I may interject
Sure,
real
sure,
quick.
Brian.
I think something that gets passed to the wayside sometimes is that families that move to Coffeyville are not looking at taxes. They're not looking at what type of quality of businesses they're there. They're looking out for their kids, and they're looking out what type of school district is in that community. They look at the schools, what type of quality they're in, what type of quality education is their family going to get. Because they're not only investing in themselves to work at a business in Coffeyville, the bigger investment is their kids in the school district. I even had myself being the band director at the high school and middle school. I have parents that come in, they scout out towns to move into in the area, and there's no denying it. I've had it firsthand. They see the facilities and they think, well, this is nice, but maybe we found something nicer, and they move on to another town. So those are families that are directly impacted by, don't get me wrong, our schools look fantastic on the outside, but when you let things go under the rug for a long time, like maybe power going out at a high school over the summertime and having to replace electrical, HVAC, and stuff that isn't a really pretty picture as a selling point, but electrical is a large issue, and those things are needed, and with this bond issue would pass it. But once again, families are looking for a school district that they can feel pride and for their kids to grow up in. And I think sometimes that's swept under the rug. We talk about taxes, we talk about businesses, we talk about a lot of perspectives. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of conversation about Tyson. That's an if. And I'm talking about the things that are now, the things that you can see, touch, feel that actually are in our town, and the things that create real world, real economy benefits for Coffeyville. These aren't things that, it's not like a rolling dice and you're guessing if Tyson comes. This isn't if more businesses come. This is a real world investment that's in the power of Coffeyville citizens' hands for our kids and for families that are looking for an education for their kids that they want to invest in. So I think that's important to remember those key things because they do matter. And it's not always about taxes and businesses. Sometimes you got to look a little more into the investments you already do have with the school districts.
Okay,
And Mr. Nagel, I appreciate your passion. And there's kind of been a stereotype that the the city commissioners are against this vote. And you bring up a really good point there. Our job is not to look directly at your perspective. We were elected by the citizens to look at the whole picture, okay? And there's a whole lot more that goes into this than just your perspective. And that's our job to look at that. And
What-
part of that is the taxes.
Yep, once again, I'm just here to make comments. I'm not here to debate. I'm addressing the city commission as a whole, so.
Thank you, sir.
And we appreciate that.
You bring up a lot of good points. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for the time extension,
Nagel.
and thank you for bringing pride to Coffeyville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the floor open to other discussion?
Yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Yes, I understand that.
Mary.
Your grandmother taught me that.
Hello, Mary.
During all this discussion about the schools, there's one group of people I have never heard their problems addressed, because this is not security for them. They own their homes. Some of them own a vehicle, some don't even own a vehicle. They are on very limited income. We have them in my neighborhood. One who has lost weight because he doesn't have enough money by the time he's paid his taxes on the home he owns and the insurance on his medicines, that he can buy enough food. I help supply that food. There are a lot of things that citizens can do. And although keeping it up and having something really nice for the kids, we know that buildings don't educate kids as a rule. We have an FFA group in which I donated the land to the school district. They do not have a single tool supplied by the school to keep the weeds mowed, to build the fence, to repair a small repair. These kids, instructors are expected to furnish the equipment, apparently. I have already had last year the FFA group come to my farm to learn how to trim trees. They didn't have any equipment that was really able to do. One of the pieces broke and the others were very rusted. Of course, if you know me over the years, I always have something in my back pocket, and that year it was in the back of my car, my equipment. So the kids learn how to do a little bit of trimming on a fruit tree. I have had a local farmer say, I wish somebody would teach the farmers how to trim fruit trees. There are things that can be done. And I think we need to think about these people that are going to become homeless if their taxes go up. They don't have enough money to keep their present houses in repair. And there's a whole bunch in my neighborhood. We need to think about them too. Children are important, yes. And I do my part to educate them any way that I can. But at the same time, we are responsible for our elderly who are on a very limited income. Just remember them too whenever you go to vote. And remember to vote. It's secret ballot. Nobody needs to know how you vote. There'll be a tally. But nobody will know how you do if you protect the secret ballot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Taylor Sr., live at 704 Spruce. I promised my wife when I left home this evening that I would not speak. I hope she'll let me in when I get home. I really think that our citizens have been done injustice to have this kind of conversation this late in the game on something that's so important. And I respect the knowledge that our presenter brought to us. I couldn't argue with him a minute. I don't know a thing about it, but I live in an 85-year-old body, a 118-year-old house, and it's hard to pay the taxes and the insurance and have somebody tell me that, oh, we spend $25 million and it only costs you $120 a year. That is baloney. Our citizens cannot afford the tax rates that we have now. Those of us who are old and trying to pay the bills and take care of living in the neighborhoods where everything's falling down around us. We want our children safe, but we don't need to be working on the assumption that if we don't spend $25 million, we don't care for our children. I'm not suggesting that anybody vote any way except the way they want, but they should go to vote. But this was kind of an ambush here this evening to hear that kind of presentation when our older citizens in town are frightened to death about paying their taxes and paying their insurance and doing the things they need. And what do we discuss here? We discuss, well, we built a fire station and we spent umpteen $1 million and now we got to have another building to put our stuff in. Well, we've got to do it. My God, we can't leave that old building there with the roof leaking. I think y'all need to start taking some responsibility and putting the hammer down on some of this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I also didn't plan on speaking tonight. Eric Jensen, 409 North Edgewood Drive. I was watching the Tulsa News before I came in here. Broken Arrow is voting on their biggest bond issue they've ever tried to pass, $210 million. Do you know you take the $25.8 million from the Coffeyville citizens that are voting on it and amplify that out to the citizens in Broken Arrow? We're talking about a $500 million or more in taxes. The city's voted to raise our mill levy. The school wants $25.8 million. I'm like Mr. Taylor. I want our kids to be safe and secure too. But I read this in the paper, all these things they've tacked on this thing, and it's like we want a Rolls Royce, and we're living in a Toyota town. And so anyway, yeah, everybody can vote their conscience, but you guys keep raising our taxes, and it's not going to increase the population. It's going to decrease the population, and I don't think they're going to have to worry about the overcrowding in the elementary school.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? This time we'll open comments from the commissioners and staff.
Okay, I'll go first for a little bit. I might come back again later. But this whole school thing, this bond issue, I'm overwhelmed with it, okay? Now, I've got a full-time job just like everyone else here about in this room. And to get all these bits and pieces from, talk about what's going on with the county, you know, and that thing, all this stuff makes a lot of difference. And this, I think it came up kind of quick. I don't know, you know, I'm like everyone else. Let's everyone vote what they want to vote, okay? Yay, yay, yay. But I'd like to know more about some stuff on it. And I'm a little bit overwhelmed with it.
I would imagine that Superintendent Carell would be more than happy to discuss that with you. I think he's entertained that. I've seen several posts from him on Facebook from USD 445 where he is open, he's entertained that. Anyone that has questions, would like to discuss it or anything along those lines, he is open to that
I attended
conversation.
one of his meetings. I attended one of them, but there's just, it's like looking at the drawings on this building when we remodel this building. It's almost too much for a non-engineer to really consume. And I think that's pretty well throughout the whole city, okay? Maybe you got it figured out, okay?
No.
But I'm just saying it's overwhelming, you know, and I mean, I've been in this job here a while. This bond issue's got me a little overwhelmed, okay? I'm just saying it, okay? I'm a little overwhelmed with it. You know, what do we really need to spend? You know, there's a lot of issues when it comes, you know, to this. And, you know, the safety of the kids, I've got one idea. There's other ideas out there, you know. I think we all need educated. I guess what I'm trying to say to Mr. Correll, you know, and the citizens of Coffeyville, you know, we need to know more. And I don't think we know enough. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say on this whole thing. I think it's gonna have a hard time passing, I'll just say it. But we do need to do some things, and there's two sides to it. And I wish I knew more about the electrical. Take the electrical. Do you know anything about the electrical out there?
I do not.
Do you know anything about the electrical out there? No. We don't know enough. Plain and simple. Okay? And I'd like to know more. And that's just, I'll just leave it at that. You know? I don't know if they, I want to say one more thing. You know, you take that 25 million, and I'm saying it because we've got a TV and we got a lot of people talking about it, and I don't know what to do from here on. You know, I'm gonna get up in the morning, go to work, but you know, in my full-time job.
So from the city commission standpoint,
right.
from our standpoint, it's not on the city commission.
I know,
This is the school board that has pressed that on. You know, the commission
I got it.
agreed that we were not going to take the half-cent sales tax.
I
So
got it.
we've done what we felt we needed to do.
Good point.
So now it's on the people to decide if
Right.
they're willing to take that tax
Right.
increase.
I agree with that.
Right.
Mayor. Now that's well said. That's getting it back off our backs.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
we decided as a commission as a whole that we were not going to do the half-cent sales tax
Right,
extension.
right.
So now
Right.
it's in the people's hands to decide how this
Yeah,
thing
there you
progresses
go.
forward.
There you go.
But I think it was it's a good platform for Mr. Nagel to get up here and present. I have absolutely no problem with him coming and talking about it, but it's more just conversation, answering questions.
And we've got the TV screen, you've got the online thing, and everybody is tuned into that for information.
Sure.
Brian brings some, this guy, that guy, we all bring some information, and I think it's worth saying. As a commissioner, I wanted to get it off my chest,
Fair enough.
you know? And the people need to know more about the mechanical side of it and things like that. Enough said. You got anything else on that one?
No, I think you said it great.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the commissioner staff?
I got one thing when you're done. I got a closing statement.
Okay.
I just had a couple more questions. I'm looking at these pictures that were provided by Chief Roski. I got a couple questions that came up. These items that you have in the bays I'm trying to figure out basically what that picture, is that a truck underneath the back nozzle of the ladder truck? Okay.
That's the only way we could get it in without putting it in another bay for two main trucks to pull out.
Okay. I was sitting here looking at these while we were progressing, and that makes more sense now because I couldn't figure out what that was. All right, thank you very much.
Bob,
You
I
guys
think
wanna
you
look at those
tried to
again
back
now?
that truck in.
I thought that's what
Now-
it was.
now
but
that
good-
we
Thank
know
you for the
what they are.
clarification.
We tried to
Thought that's what it
Yeah.
was. Wouldn't go under the,
It was too tall.
Okay.
yeah.
So, you live there,
Yes.
over here. First of all, the roof is in disrepair.
Oh, yes.
What other issues did you have over there? Obviously, I mean, I've already said that I don't want to sink any more money into it, but
Correct.
just give me some idea of what kind of problems they have over there.
Well, we wanted to put everybody into a separate room because we just had one big room, so if we were to have a female, which we've had a couple apply, they just didn't quite pass the test. But if we were to have a female get on the fire department, we wanted to make sure that we had separate rooms for, you know, everybody. So, you know, in case we did have somebody of different sex come in there.
And obviously, there's ADA issues over
yes,
here and
ADA
whatnot.
issues. Another thing was the trucks are getting bigger, those bays were small. If it was raining outside, we'd have to pull the truck outside to lift the cab up to check the oil on Monday.
Okay,
So that was one thing.
just
Now we can-
reminding me.
We can lift it up, we can wash the trucks in the bays, we can
Okay. Any other questions?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments here from the commission?
No, I just had something I want to say at closing. Is it closing time?
It's closing time.
I just want to say that a friend of mine and friend of the city of Caulfield, Mr. Raymond Cook, passed away about a day and a half ago, I guess it was. His wife Lois and Raylene are there at the house, and I just want to make that comment so the people would know and just mention that.
Very good. Thank you. At this time, I will move to recess to executive session to discuss in a personal matter pursuant to non-elected personnel, exception to reconvene in the commission room on or before, which time you want? 15 minutes, so it's 7:50. Second. Chris, Commissioner Williams.
Motion was made by Mayor Bauer and seconded by Commissioner Williams to recess to executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to the non-elected personnel. Room honor before 7:50 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
That didn't cost you